The Emperor's Fire, a tale of Lord Solar Macharius. The air of Talthor Prime burned with the acrid stench of promethium, the sky a haze of red as the armies of the Imperium surged forward. At their head, the indomitable Lord Solar Macharius stood like a golden icon, his power sword held high, reflecting the distant fires of a burning city. The enemy, the Xenos horde of the Yatar, had long infested the system, a blight upon the Imperium's lost worlds. Their towering insectoid bodies scuttled in retreat as Macharius's vanguard smashed through their ranks. His Armageddon Steel Legion tanks rumbled like thunder across the ash-covered plains, hammering the Xenos back towards their final citadel. "Forward!" Macharius's voice echoed across the Vox network, carrying the weight of the Emperor's will. His soldiers obeyed without question. To them, Macharius was no mere mortal. He was the Emperor's sword, and today, that sword would cut deep. As his personal command squad approached the breach in the Xenos walls, Macharius surveyed the battlefield. The strategy was flawless, the execution swift, as always. Yet beneath the weight of his golden laurels and the mantle of legend that now draped his shoulders, there was a tension, a knowledge that for every victory, a deeper battle brewed in the shadows. Within the hour, the citadel had fallen, its walls crumbled beneath the hammer of imperial might. The remaining Xenos fled into the wilderness, hunted by the legions like prey. Macharius entered the heart of the alien stronghold, flanked by his most trusted officers. The banners of the Imperium were raised once more, and the world was reclaimed for the Emperor. As the cheers of his men filled the air, Macharius allowed himself a rare smile. The battle won, another jewel added to his crown of conquests. He knew the Imperium's borders would stretch ever wider, its influence grow ever stronger because of him. But then came the words of Colonel Veranos, one of his oldest and most trusted lieutenants, his voice edged with concern. "Lord Solar, the nobles and planetary governors appointed in the aftermath are unsteady. They are more interested in their own wealth than governing in your name." Macharius frowned. "They are loyal. They will bring order once we depart." Veranos hesitated. "They lack your discipline, my lord. The worlds you conquer may not hold if left in the hands of such men." Macharius's brow furrowed, but his voice remained firm. "The Imperium's strength is in its faith, Colonel. These men serve the Emperor. As long as I lead by example, they will follow." Veranos bowed his head, unwilling to argue with the Lord Solar in the glow of another victory. Yet the seeds of doubt, once sown, gnawed at Macharius's mind. 2 months later, Macharius stood aboard his flagship, gazing out at the distant stars. Talthor Prime had been left in the hands of Governor Marich, a wealthy noble who had pledged loyalty to Macharius and the Imperium. But reports had already trickled in. Corruption, rebellion, and unrest were spreading. Macharius clenched his fist, the weight of the galaxy seeming to press down on his shoulders. He had been driven by his vision, his belief that the Emperor's light should shine on every world, no matter how distant. But he had always been a warrior, not a politician. He conquered, but it was others who governed. The Crusade had pushed deeper into uncharted space, farther than any Imperial army in millennia. But the logistics of holding those worlds together, of instilling the loyalty he so easily inspired in his soldiers, was slipping away. His victories on the battlefield could not always be translated into lasting peace. In his heart, he knew the conquered worlds might fracture once his armies moved on. His hand, mighty though it was, could not be everywhere at once. The governors he appointed were weak men, drawn to the spoils of conquest rather than its responsibilities. They did not share his vision, but he had no time to look back. More worlds awaited his arrival, more systems cried out for liberation. He could not afford to slow down. The Emperor's light must reach them all. In that moment, Macharius realized the paradox of his own legend. For all his power, he was but one man, bound to the destiny of conquest. The galaxy would remember him for his victories, but the worlds he left behind, worlds reclaimed for the Imperium, might one day fall to darkness once more. As the next campaign loomed on the horizon, Lord Solar Macharius stood tall, his resolve unshaken. His place was on the battlefield. He would leave the rest to others, for better or worse. And so, the Emperor's greatest general led his armies forward, a blazing comet across the stars, his name etched into history. But as with all comets, his brilliance would fade, and in his wake, the darkness would begin to stir. Lord Solar Macharius, a man whose greatness on the battlefield was unparalleled, yet whose achievements were shadowed by the very weaknesses of those meant to carry his legacy forward. Through his tireless campaigns, Macharius proved himself as a brilliant military commander, one whose strategic genius and fearless leadership reclaimed nearly 1,000 worlds for the Imperium of Man. His heroism is legendary, his courage beyond question. He was the Emperor's sword, and his conquests extended the Imperium's reach deeper into the stars than ever before. It is said that when Macharius learned he could conquer no more worlds in the name of the Emperor, he fell to his knees and wept. However, for all his brilliance, Macharius was a conqueror, not a ruler. The men he appointed as planetary governors, though loyal in word, lacked the strength of character and moral fortitude needed to rule with the iron will of the Emperor. Corruption, unrest, and instability grew in the wake of his campaigns, leading to the eventual collapse of many of the worlds he had so valiantly fought to reclaim. His heroism is thus tinged with tragedy, showing that even the greatest of men cannot escape the limitations of human frailty. Macharius stands as a symbol of both the heights of human achievement and the inevitable fragility of empires built on imperfect men. The story of Lord Solar Macharius teaches us that true success is not just about achieving great victories, but about ensuring those victories can be sustained. It's a reminder that no matter how strong or skilled we are as individuals, we must also cultivate strength, integrity, and responsibility in those around us. Leadership is not only about conquering challenges, but about empowering others to carry forward what we've built. If we fail to invest in the people and systems that will continue our work, even the greatest achievements can crumble. Surround yourself with capable, trustworthy allies, and remember that lasting success is a collective effort, not a solo triumph. Glory to the Emperor,